Or map number 1 will be taking place on drum roll, please.
Oh, it is Border.
Hey, we're right. High five.
Oh, I was wrong, but
That was a good high five too.
yeah, it was a good high five.
Better than Dev Marta high fives.
Oh, poor Dev.
Border though, that's actually really interesting because Border is a map that's definitely dropped in popularity. I've got it down as like the 7th most popular map coming into this season.
Yep.
It is a balanced map though, so it could make for a really close contest.
Yeah, and actually, there's some interesting discussion on Twitter that I really dug into this week about the staleness of Border. It's a map that's been in for a long time for the Pro League map pool, and we're not seeing a whole lot of innovation. But as you said, it is balanced. So it's going to really favour a team that's well stratted, well rehearsed, and can be consistent. So it's something we've highlighted already is consistency.
All right, well, let's see what you guys think. The community poll will determine who is the most popular team going into this contest, and it will be Homeless by country mile, 70%. Wow, that must come down to the fact that TBD just no one knows who they are. Maybe, I don't know.
It could come down to that. There's a cute little boy versus a white logo, but I mean, I don't know, man. 70% is hugely in favor of Homeless, but look, it's justifiable to an extent. They've had some great matches. Whereas we've only seen that one series from TBD and it was 50-50. They won one, lost one. So that could be the telling story there. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess we can touch back on Border. You mentioned that it's a map that really favors consistency, and maybe both these teams in the past have struggled to be consistent. I guess going into a match as maybe a player or support staff, is there anything mentally that you can do to prepare to actually be more consistent? Because, I mean, I think that's the end goal for any team, to be consistently good.
Yeah, I think the big onus is on the attacks, as we talked about. Border is an attackable map, so that's great. But the big variable is the aggression on defense. And if you're not watching your runouts, you're not watching flank watch carefully enough, that's going to be your undoing. So in terms of the mindset coming in, you just got to make sure that you are consistent with your flank drones, the IGL calls, ensuring that you're going through your steps in attack, making sure everything is achieved so you're ready for that execute.
Well, Border will be the first map of tonight between TBD and Homeless. This is going to be a great contest. Let's see which team can bring that consistency to the table and edge out the win. This is going to be a banger. Let's get straight into it.
Excited to get into this ban phase here, guys. I'm really curious to see whether we see some more Thatcher bans. Something's telling me that we probably are going to see some.
Yeah, definitely a pretty safe bet. Thatcher is an operator that is quite handy on this map. A lot of key walls that need to be opened, or definitely helps with the attack if are open. So let's see who the first ban will be. It will be from TBD. It's going to be Buck. So another really strong ban because Border, a lot of the floors and the roofs are destructible, so taking a really strong soft breach off the board will be quite handy, as of course they are defending first.
I really like the Buck ban on Border. There's so much verticality that is important on Border. Some really important situations to hold that verticality. So for example, if you're holding Armory office side, you have a player roaming in security CCTV area, you usually use a Buck to flush that out. So not having that on the board just means you have to use the Zofia or Soft Breach, which means it's then not able to be used on things like the Maestro Evil Eyes.
Thatcher will make it through the ban phase. Mirror doesn't get the same treatment though. Seeing Maverick off the board is not too uncommon on this map, particularly for the upstairs attack. Maverick can be quite strong, and then of course you got downstairs with the detention wall. Even Tellers, if there was to be a Tellers defense. So Maverick is very diverse in the way that he can use his ability. The final ban comes out, and it will be Echo. Interestingly enough, Valkyrie will stay on the board, who is really strong on this map.
Yeah, really strong for that defense intel, and it's going to be TBD starting on defense. So that's slipped through and will be of assistance to them. Whether they utilize that might not be in their strat depth. We'll have to see whether it's used by them, but you know what? I think that's definitely going to be an extra obstacle for Homeless to deal with if they're not wary.
Ventilation and Workshop will be the first objective defended here by TBD. Joker teasing with the clash, but he's going to 6-pick onto the castle, so we could see castle utilized above, or potentially for the safer hold over towards Tellers. Personal favorite of mine. I'm always yelling at someone to reinforce one of the Tellers walls.
Yep.
So, sorry to all the players out there who've yelled at to do that. Probably Sky. I think it's Sky's normally the one that
Usually
gets
cops it.
Yeah.
One thing that's standing out for me right now, though, is we talked about Valkyrie being on the board and the intel that she provides, but actually TBD, their lineup, is not really bringing a whole lot of intel at all. Mozzie's very dependent on catching a drone. Outside of that, maybe there's a bulletproof cam in there somewhere, but there's no other intel otherwise. Intel denial in the mute, of course intel denial in that Mozzie, the mute Mozzie combo. But yeah, really lacking that solid intel, like from an Evil Eye or from the Valkyrie cams. Quite a surprise for me.
Trying to work out where Joker is utilizing these castle barricades. It looks like it could potentially be a path. He's still got one in his pocket. Thanks, MC, our lovely observer, trying to find where those are. He's been a bit sneaky with them, so maybe they were placed below. But it does look like TBD are opting for a very heavy upstairs hold here. A lot of verticality. That final one going on the Beaver's door to help cover the cross. So it definitely looks like TBD are investing very, very heavily above. And I think Homeless, if they read into this, could go for that push that we saw. Was it G2 through customs and then through the wall straight into workshop? I think I saw a Reaper video on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, but I
Or was
agree.
it against G2? I don't know.
If they read into it, they definitely can utilize a more horizontal push. They could try and ignore the vertical plate. But that being said, vertical plate is quite critical on border. It's a much less commonality to be able to push directly to site and secure a post plant, because usually the retakes are quite possible on this map. Have to see whether they read into it or not. They have pushed onto east stairs already though, Guz. Some good important map control.
Dino already trying to pick the main wall. He's going to use that nade to try and get those bandit charges off the wall. He will succeed on the right side, so Juicy could come across and help open the wall. Is Juicy subbing in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Subbing in.
Well, there we go.
I guess he is.
A sneaky Juicy. There we go.
Sneaky Juicy.
Yep. He opens up the right wall, and that'll create a nice line of sight in towards Ippy style. He's playing behind the desk. Is he on 1 HP? Oh my goodness, Ippy style. If he gets a kill here, that'd be massive. Almost hits the wall bang there. Surely not. Oh my goodness. Dino. So lucky to get away with his life. He will be droned out. He's going to go for another pre-fire potentially. Dino edging closer to his crosshairs. But it looks like Ippy style will just hold for the moment and wait for the crossfire. Haywood though gets mangoes. Ippy style's unable to refrag that, and Arlo gets one as well. Will Ippy styles be taken out? Surely he will as Haywood pushes in. Dino though will get that kill, and just like that, it's a 5-on-2.
What a beautiful execute though onto that top floor. Dino does take that TK though, but look, the precision of Homeless taking that east side, pushing across from Archives, clearing out the top floor was just fantastic. TBD weren't able to really put up much of a fight at all. So you're in a strong position here now, Guz, in this final minute.
Cutie trying to get a cheeky angle over towards the main door. One of only 2 remaining members. He gets one though. That Stig's dropped off the board and the diffuser dropped. Homeless, they should be able to recover him, and they will. The diffuser should be in hand as well. They'll pick that up. Juicy has that under his arm. He'll be carrying that over towards the bomb site. Only 2 members of TBD ready and waiting to hold it though.
Yeah, not a lot of denial either. Cutie does have a C4 in the pocket for denial, but that's not going to be able to do a whole lot. Oh, he does down one player into this 3 versus 1 now, Guz. Plant is going down.
Cutie needs to try and deny it as Juicy will stick at Homeless with some really nice angles. Already pre-generated, holding and waiting for him to cross the door. Looks like Stigs is outside far to the ute. They've got a player above and a player out the window. Raven Cutie, he's not going to win this one.
Definitely a hard task here, Guz. Those post-plant positions, as you were saying, are just too good right now for Homeless. They're ready for that above retake. That long angle from the front door, Homeless closed the round out. Great round from them in the end.
Homeless have now won their second attack in how many play days was it? 3 maps, and they've won 2 attacks.
Yes.
So this is a good start.
It's a great start from them, and I highlighted at the start of the pre-match. I'm going to be really paying attention to the Homeless attacks. That was fantastic attack.
Yep.
So that's a great start for them. Let's see if they can continue to back it up though. That site, traditionally a little bit easier to attack than the Armory Archives bomb site, which is the standard pick normally for defense. Not something that TBD tried to do this time. See how they go.
TBD just unable to really tame that aggression that came above, and personally I was quite surprised at how heavy Homeless did try and attack it, considering that TBD fortified it quite well. It seemed like their utility was in decent position, maybe just getting a little bit overzealous in their peaks. And once you lose that man advantage, particularly above, it just means there's more and more and more angles that you need to be mindful of. And Homeless, with that aggression, that trademark aggression, really capitalized on that and shut down the round. Upstairs, could play out quite similarly, really, because they are holding the same site in quotation marks that they were kind of holding last round. So maybe we'll see a similar attack.
Yeah, it's going to depend on how spread out they are. Usually there is quite the common roam in the breaks CCTV area, or security people call it. So if there's a roam over there, that does take a little bit more effort to clear out, but it's not impossible. And based on how Homeless attacked that last round, I would say it's definitely possible for them to clear this pretty quick. TBD really going to have to dig in and get a solid roam game going here, otherwise they're just going to get run over the top of.
Hayward on Zofia, he's going to be running the Hollow. Bit of talk about the ACOG recently. We've seen in the TTS at least. Maestro, F's in the chat for him. He's lost his ACOG. A little bit of controversy surrounding that pick. Personally, I'm, you know, pretty happy with it. I still feel like he's really strong though. Hard to tame a Maestro on fire, that's for sure.
It's still a bullet hose, and you know it's still really good with the one-times. We've already seen a lot of players using one-times on it after those changes on TTS. Whether it makes this live, we'll have to see. This is a very strong office roam though. Jack Daddy with the Bandit against that triple wall, looking like he's going to try and potentially Bandit trick it, just slow them down from pushing that. Homeless setting up for more like an office take here, not wanting to push into that security roam, just opting to try and clear this out.
Definitely a risky Bandit juggle. Dino set at the top of East Stairs. He could easily lob a nade and take him out of that position if Homeless drain it out and if there are no ADSs holding that position. Looks like Jack Daddy's still playing there. He gets drained out. The flashes come out from Arlo. Will this be followed up with a nade from Dino? It might be, but no, he actually gets taken out from 90. A big push out from Jack Daddy gets him, and the C4 cleans him up. Arlo low as well, and TBD, they're trying to bring it back here.
Great play from Jack Dad there, very aggressive. Someone not watching it from the waiting windows could have watched that rotate out. There's a pre-fire through a grey part of the wall there. Bit of an oversight from Homeless in their attack. Hayward has rotated around to Archives though, looking to get a bit of a pinch on this position just to try and push people around, try and get a pick. Juicy's also rotating around here, Guz, so quite a dramatic change up from Homeless.
Stiggs, he'll repel on this sandwich window. Looks like there is a Maestro playing just to his right. That's Cutie near the half wall. He's going to be hard to clear out. No one over at the main wall to try and pinch him either, so Stiggs in a very compromised position. Looks like Arlo has made his way into site. Joker needs to try and hold him back. Oh, they've all pushed the site. Joker gets taken out, and now Juicy will attempt the plant. TBD, seemingly unaware as Arlo and Stiggs get one as well, and Mangoes will get one back, so it's a 3-on-3, but Juicy, he sticks the plant as another member of TBD will fall down, and now it's a post plant. They need to try and recover the diffuser, but no. Ippy Styles drops Hayward. Oh my goodness, Homeless unable to hold the site when it looks so strong, and Jack Daddy, he'll be able to counter defuse, and TBD will clutch the round.
TBD letting that slip through the cracks, just getting in, getting that plant down. Great calls to rotate from Homeless and a great execute in the end, but some big mistakes in post plant. One thing I really noticed is Hayward had a Claymore in the pocket. He could have just popped it on that AC window, played a lot more passive. It would have forced them to have to jump out and do something, at least traded himself out, but in the end he died peeking. And unfortunate misplays there in the post plant. TBD take that round now, Guz. They're going to move back down events.
Definitely a trend that Homeless are unfortunately finding themselves in, where their flank watch is just lacking, and we were hammering on about it in our cast last week. There are a couple of occasions where their drone setups weren't as great. And now it seems like it might even be deeper than that, because Jack Daddy was able to push into the hallway. No one with a gun is holding that, never mind a drone. And then late in the round, they didn't have a great post-plant setup. So maybe the fact that they got really aggressive into the site compromised their ability to set up for that post-plant. Either way, though, it is an oversight, and TBD did really well to capitalize.
It is, again, the 1%ers, those minor details that are just giving them the issues they're having on attack. Not holding that with a gun is a big oversight. And even with a drone, if you know you're going to be trying to flush out that East Stairs position, nobody should be able to push down that hallway. Realistically, Jack Daddy could have been able to push even deeper. No one was holding it. Not even the person on East Stairs was holding it hard. So, yeah, big things that will come back to bite you. And Homeless are going to have to try and fix that. They want to get more attack rounds.
And Border is a map where small mistakes mean the difference between losing or winning the round. Because of how much it's been played and how heavily the teams have stratted this, and arguably you could say how stale it has become in quotation marks. It means that those small mistakes, they are exploited to the absolute max, whereas there might be a little bit more leeway on some of the newer maps in the pool that haven't been stratted out quite as hard. So Homeless need to try and get on top of that, and this round there's no better opportunity than that to get one back.
That's right, and they will have to tidy up their execute, as we've been saying. They are looking to take the East Stairs nice and quick here though, which is super important. One of the big linchpins for Border is East Stairs, guys, and that's because if the defenders are allowed to rotate back up East Stairs, they can really comfortably retake that top floor if you've taken that map control, which is, of course, as we said, very critical. So East Stairs, big part of your first part of the attack. Nicely done for them to take it so nice and early.
Okay. Cool. Well, this is unfortunate. 1-1. That's not the best outcome, but
It's like
I
some
guess
treadmills decided to come into the map
they stole Worthy's treadmill
from last week.
last week.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, at least if there's one time for it to DC, it was probably the best time in the round because not much had happened. So
That's right.
not the worst result.
Yep.
1-1. How are we
1-1.
feeling? Because Homeless, first round, good. Second round, essentially 2 mistakes, cost them the round.
Yeah.
Is that something that's going to continue, or do you think Homeless, at least now with a nice break, do you think they'll be able to tidy that up?
I think they can, based on their performance in that first round. Even the second round, let's be fair with that second round. The call to rotate and then the execution of that rotate was really great. It was just those couple of small things that cost them. The post-plant mistake, the not watching the office push out that Jack Daddy capitalized on. Just those things could have been the difference for that round. Homeless, I think so far, I'd say, are playing better than last week so far. Only 2 rounds though. They've got 4 to go.
Yeah, still a long way to go. I guess the question is, has Border really played out as you expected? Because a lot of people, including probably yourself, make the argument that, you know, we see very, very, very similar strats over and over, and it comes down to these real, like, 0.5%, not even 1%ers on this map. Is there anything maybe new that you've seen spotted out, or does it sort of feel samey at the moment?
Nothing particularly new. I'm kind of surprised TBD are playing as passive as they are, if you can call it that. Jack Daddy a little bit aggressive, but kind of besides that, there's nothing happening in terms of the early aggression. No one running out from East Stairs is a really common run out, Armory Wall run out, below with Vents trying to take out the person on AC or peeking from the sandwich lockers that's in Armory. None of that coming out from TBD. That's probably the biggest surprise for me so far, because I really thought they would have taken the aggression to Homeless.
And I guess I'm just looking at my stats here in terms of how many times these teams have actually played this map. And from what I've got here, it's literally their least played maps for both teams. How do you, as a team, sort of prepare for a Pro League match on a map that you don't play a lot of officials in? Because yes, you might scrim it, you might dry run it occasionally, but you haven't played it in that sort of competitive environment where there's actual real pressure. As a team, how do you sort of prepare mentally for taking on a map that you haven't played a lot, but on the flip side, your opponent hasn't either?
Yeah, I think coming into this, they would have prepared somewhat. They would have known that the veto could have gone this deep for Border. It's never going to be a surprise for both teams, at least. So somebody's been screaming it coming up to this week. Someone's going to be prepared. In terms of preparing for maps in general, you just have to know, usually it's like 3 to 4 maps that the veto will swing towards, and that's usually what you practice leading up to your play week. So there's definitely some preparation that's happened, but with Border being how it is, some teams choose to prep it less in general, because you can kind of always fall back on those really simple default strats, and they work fine. You don't have to do anything overly fancy on this map.
Yeah, well, looking at Homeless, the last time that I've recorded them playing this map, it was in the 6 Invitational ANZ Open Quals. That was against Fury, and it was actually a 7-4. They managed to win 3 attacks on that map, so that is definitely much better than their attacks have been trending recently. I guess, is Fury, in your eyes, maybe some sort of a fair comparison to where TBD are? Because I reckon you could make a fair comparison that they're at a pretty similar level at the moment.
I definitely think you can, because they've played each other. They're the only teams that have played each other, or well, like they're the only teams that they've played, and they won a map each. So that shows that they're pretty even, you could say. So that's a good comparison. We haven't seen a whole lot from either of those teams, though, to elaborate further on where they might sit in the ladder in comparison to Homeless right now. But Homeless have put in those great performances against arguably better teams than TBD and Fury. So you would think that would count for something.
Yeah, and I guess both these teams are orgless, so we can sort of talk about that. Neither of them have that organizational representation that a lot of teams in ANZ are now really starting to get. Globally, a lot of teams have had for quite some time now. TBD most recently departed from the Mindfreak organization. How does that play on your mind? Do you think maybe there is some sort of pressure behind not having an org to some extent? Because we know that having that support can be quite integral to success.
Yeah, I think that does present some kind of pressure, because you want to be putting in good results, because you're going to be talking to these organizations and you've got to sell yourself. And if you've been bottoming out in every Pro League match, that's really hard to sell yourself to a business and say, hey, invest in us. We haven't won though, but if you invest, we will. That's a big gamble. So it's definitely a bit of pressure, and whether that's affecting them, it's hard to say. It's definitely team dependent.
Alrighty, well, we are back in the map. Woo! Ventilation workshop will be the objective. Looks like TBD will be taking a pretty standard setup to what they did previously when they tried to hold it from above. Homeless bringing a lineup that's equally as good in taking that down. Stiggs 6-picking off Habana onto Thatcher. Thatcher is an operator that we mentioned earlier, is very powerful and often banned in ANZ. How do you think Homeless are going to try and approach the site and make full use of those EMP nades?
I think a lot of those EMPs are going to be going towards the Mute and the Mozzie. That's going to be their biggest hurdle. The Bandit as well, because they're going to be wanting to use their hard breach on those Bandit walls. But I think definitely to do the room clear, they're going to have to use those EMPs on the Mute and the Mozzie. It just makes it a lot easier for them. A bit more efficient, so they'll have more time to do stuff later. Again, though, TBD, they're not paying help. I really just think if they had some more intel, let's say a Valkyrie last time, they might have been able to foresee more of what Homeless was doing on that office side. They might have been able to counter that better. So I'm a bit surprised we haven't seen that adaptation come out of them yet.
Yeah, we did see Cutie on the Maestro in the last round.
Yep.
Seemed to have maybe a limited effect. It was a little bit hard to tell exactly what intel he did gather. He's playing on that Mute. The Mute Mozzie combo. Woo! We hear it time and time again, but it is such a powerful combination. But not when there's a Thatcher on the board. Because Thatcher can use his AMPs to take out that utility.
That's right. You can just deal with it nice and easy. Normally, if you don't have the Thatcher, what you have to do is drone up to it, decide whether it's worth trying to push through, and you have to try and clear it somehow, whether it's just peeking and shooting that utility, or somehow going below and clearing it vertically, which again presents its own challenges. It's another section you'll have to drone out just to clear that. So that is the strength of the Thatcher ban, but Homeless don't have to deal with that. Really important and allows them to be more efficient on their attack clears.
Looks like Homeless are preparing to open up the main wall here. Jack Daddy is in prime position to try and Bandit juggle it. So Homeless will need to try and deny that. Stiggs is pinging out for Hayward to support, and he could use his concussions to stop him from doing so. It looks like that will be the case. So really strong utility usage from Homeless, but there is an ADS there. It will be taken out eventually by Stiggs with the EMPs as Arlo's dropped off screen. Jack Daddy now finds himself under the pump with the wall getting open, but he'll be able to retreat back to safety.
It's much tidier from TBD. They're just doing a slight delay here and starting to drop back a little bit, not getting as tagged up or not getting fragged out like last time. Arlo has been down. I wonder if that was a C4 from below or just some erred shots into the hallway. Either way, this is looking much better for TBD as we've passed halfway.
Homeless now just holding angles, not quite as aggressive as we saw them when they rotated in that upstairs take previously. TBD already beginning to go below. Ippy Styles was still holding above though. He was holding half full on the last occasion. This time though, he's open towards Sandwich. Trying to pre-fire some shots and support Cutie, who's over near the hatch drop. Both these players in pretty risky positions if Homeless drone them out, so they need to be mindful. Ippy Styles will fall back as he is droned down, and Homeless now starting to gain control.
A little more riskier for Ippy Style to an extent, because he can be cut a little bit easier. No hatch drop near his corner. He has to actually rotate back past that doorway. So if held by Homeless, can capitalize. Cutie has dropped down to the server rack. That means he's on site now. And you know what? Homeless are going to have to get their pedal on, Guz, because it's 40 seconds to go, and they've got a lot to do if they want to get this plant down. A lot of angles to hold, a lot of players to clear. It's going to be difficult if they can even do it.
Ippy Styles still above Homeless, haven't flushed him out yet, and with 30 seconds left, the rest of TBD on site can just hold positions. Jack Daddy is finally taken down on site. Mangoes tries to cover, but he's too far away. Cutie drops the hatch to try and support as well. Joker, meanwhile, he's on the other side over towards Bathroom. Looks like Dino is pushing that at the moment. He needs to try and get the kill. There is only 10 seconds on the board, and Homeless have just popped off here. It's a 5-on-2. Ippy Styles is still left above. Mango's taken out on site, and just like that, Homeless will clean up.
Wow.
Absolutely wiping the floor, and TBD just left sleeping.
What an explosion in the end there, Guz. They didn't really have much set up at all towards that final 20-30 second mark, and just bang out of nowhere, they get those frags, and TBD just fell like flies. Great execute in the end from Homeless, albeit maybe a little bit untidy, you could say, in those early stages. Means that TBD, again, are going to have to retry this site. Something's got to change here.
That's 2 times now where they've tried to hold above and it hasn't quite worked. The difference on this occasion was that they were actually able to rotate downstairs, but it didn't matter. Homeless just... It happened that quickly. We didn't really get to fully embrace it. Homeless just absolutely stomped in towards the site. TBD were basically caught with their pants down and didn't have any sort of response.
That's right, and their early positioning, it was good. That delay was great vertically. They played everything right until that final 30 seconds. Maybe they had some bad positioning. Homeless just winning their gunfights. Either way, it was all TBD until that really last part of the round. So TBD's got to tighten it up a bit. They still don't really have that extra intel. They just dropped the mute, but still no extra intel, guys. They need intel, man.
Yeah, they actually dropped the mute as well on this occasion, so it's going to be arguably even easier now for Homeless to gather their own intel. And it's not often that we see the attackers have more intel than the defenders, I feel, in the current meta, because normally the defenders will be bringing at least a Mozzie or a mute, if not both. On top of that, they'll bring a Valkyrie who isn't banned and they're not using her for whatever reason. On top of that, you've even got the Maestro, you've got bulletproof cameras. It doesn't seem like TBD are really using that, and maybe that cost them in that last round where they didn't have that intel on site.
They had the Legion picked as well, but they're 6-picked off it, and I'm going to say, I feel like the Legion's got to be a better option in this instance. It's going to slow down that Homeless push. It's going to require them just to be a little more careful with their droning and utility clear. And even late round, if the Legion's still alive, he can pop those goo mines on entry points, plant spots, hatch drops, all that kind of stuff. And that's going to help them late round. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't stick that Legion pick. That might come back to bite them. Not 100% convinced on their strat so far, but I'm looking forward to them proving me wrong.
It is a 4-man hold above here for TBD, and Homeless are looking to try and clear them out. Cutie gets lit up from behind. He's going to take refuge under the desk, a very risky position. Could net him a couple of kills, but Homeless should trade that out. Mangoes is attempting to cover as Stiggs pushes towards the hallway, but Homeless, they're not going to be too risky so far. It looks like Dino is going to try and prep for that nade once again. He was taken out from 90 on the last occasion, but Homeless have cleared it out this time. Flash has come out from Juicy. Dino doesn't nade it though, so it looks like they're just waiting, holding out. Trying to get that wall. Dino will pop that nade though. He's going to throw it over the top. Will Jack Daddy survive?
Ooh.
Yes, he will. The ADS saves his life, but the wall is being opened.
It is, and that was lucky that ADS caught that grenade. They did try to burn it out with some stuns, but not quite doing so. Jack Daddy's taken out though, as Juicy finds another Guz. 2 dropping early yet again, and it's looking like it's on the ropes for TBD.
Homeless really improved in watching their flank watch, watching those drops and just completely shutting down the rotates. Mangoes is stuck above now in a last-ditched attempt to slow down this push. He's been droned out. They know exactly where he is now. He has the SMG in hand and couldn't net a kill. He tries to pre-fire Water Fountain, but doesn't get the kill. He's going to peek wide with the shotgun. Misses the first shot, and the second shot! There's no way! How did Arlo win that gunfight? Oh my goodness, Ippy Styles dropped as well, and it's a 1-on-5. Joker inside of Workshop gets taken down as well. And Homeless will take a flawless round. What did I just witness there?
Wow,
what was that? Oh my god.
He made an absolute meal of that push out into Fountain, missing those shotgun shots that really secured the round for Homeless, so to speak. And again, I think they've got to get off this Vents hold. Believe Armory will be available for them, and that looks like what they're going to go for. It's the rounds they won. They've got to fix that Vents hold, guys, because it's not looking great. Three rounds they've dropped to that, and one was close, sure, but I think there's some big changes that still needed to be made.
Homeless doing such a great job in getting that wall open, and then having the player watching over waiting room and watching the hatch drop was perfect. Because not only did that net them but essentially a free kill, but it also opened up the site for them to push later. Didn't really matter because TBD basically dropped by flies by that point as another player got killed alongside Jack Dad. So it was left in a 5v3, and with that man disadvantage, that upstairs hold, it's not going to work for much longer, and Homeless just completely picked it apart. Arlo with arguably a lucky kill. Don't know how that defender missed those shots. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know quite how to explain it. TBD's roam off side is really just falling apart. It's being picked apart.
They're just being caught off guard, and I feel like I'm saying it a lot, but if TBD just had that extra intel, they could just be more ready, better positioning, just readier for those engagements. Something not quite right there for me, and I really hope we see some changes. Either way, they're on Armory now, Guz. They did win this successfully last time. Based on a great rotate from Homeless, but some poor post-plant decisions. So if Homeless can rectify those, maybe we'll see another Homeless round win here.
It's so close to have been a 4-0 on attack, which on border is quite impressive. It is a decently balanced map. So winning attacks is critical, and They've set themselves up really nicely already with only 2 rounds left in the half. That was a dangerous cross from Dino. Doesn't get taken out though as they try and clear some utility inside of Break Room. Trying to push over towards CCTV, which TBD are investing a couple of players in. There we go. There's a nice flank drone from Homeless. So if they get flanked up waiting, Raven, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed.
I mean, it's one thing to put a flank drone down, guys, but if you've got 5 up, who's watching it? It's something that can be missed by some teams on their flank watch. Often you'll hear someone gets flanked and they say, we had a drone there, who's on it? Nobody. So that's where the coordination and the synergy really is important. Jack Dad under siege here in office already. They're trying to try and get this triple wall open. Looking very similar to the push we saw from Homeless last time. It did end up successful, albeit a little messy at the start. Did rely on that call out in the end to rotate around. So if they can do this tidier, this could be a stronger round.
I feel so sorry for Jack Daddy at the moment, just getting bombarded so far in this round, trying to hold this wall as best that he can. And it's almost to the point where he just needs to forfeit it. Dino, he's going to nade it out. Will Jack Daddy be taken down? No. Gets a bit of utility, but Jack Daddy now will rotate towards the wall. But the concussion is perfectly timed, and Jack Daddy falls back. The wall is open, and now Homeless can mount their attack.
That was some beautiful utility use from Hayward, not only clearing the shield and the evil eye, but then he used those concussions to prevent the bandit charge. He did his job so well there, and now he's going to be able to just frag out if that's what they want him to do. No utility left, he's just going to drain out. Really well played from them. 2 minutes burn now though, so they're going to have to start pushing up. Mangoes is still in this deep position in security. He can cause a lot of issues in that 90 hallway. He's starting to get droned out now though, so maybe they're going to clear out these roam positions.
Homeless have waited about 2 minutes to try and push these players outside of CCTV. Maybe it's too late, but Dino gets Hippie Styles, and now Mangoes is left alone over towards the box. Dino is going to head that attack. Will he win the gunfight? It's still going out, but Dino will get on top in the end and finishes it off with a knife. Joker gets one back onto Hayward though, so it is a 4-on-3. Dino with a wall bang onto Joker.
That is dirty.
No way he just hit that. So Cutie and Jack Dad now left with about 30 seconds to hold out here. Arlo gets Jack Dad though, so Cutie, he needs to hit a 4-on-1. He has the older with the ACOG. Will this prove to be the demise of Homeless? Stiggs gets taken out. Will he get the second? No! A great wide peek there will finish him off. Juicy with the final kill. And Homeless will win another attack.
So much credit to Homeless here. Their attacks are looking really tidy. We put a lot of pressure on them about their attacks after last week's broadcast against Fnatic. And they're coming up to it here. It is border. It is slightly simpler to attack. But this coordination is just really great. And I think a highlight of that was that Homeless, the Hayward utility use, sorry, on the Zofia. It was done perfectly. They're just flushing these roamers out. They're not standing a chance in those gunfights. It's just too much pressure for TBD to deal with. This is their final defense now, guys. They've only won one by narrow margins, and it was on Armory Archives. Didn't even look close in that last round.
I think it's time for TBD to start mixing it up. We've seen very similar strategies employed across both sites when they're trying to hold above. I mean, almost every round they've had Jack Dad on the triple wall, and he's either being taken out straight away as he tries to juggle it, or he gets taken out later in the round anyway. So clearly that strategy, from our point of view at least, isn't really working. It's not wasting a whole lot of time either. So TBD, maybe they've reached the bottom of their strat book. We mentioned that they don't play this map a lot in officials, so maybe they came into this backing their default setup, and maybe it's just not working.
We talked about how at least one of these teams have prepped for this map. Maybe this was the surprise for TBD. Maybe they baited it out, assuming that Homeless were going to ban it in that final stage, and Homeless called their bluff, and they said, no, we prep border, let's play it. So this is going to be something that I'm definitely keen to ask about in the interview, because so far this is looking all Homeless. TBD really struggling with their strats, their setups, and how they play these rounds out. The rounds that they have lost haven't really been close. A flawless round, 4 alive in that last round, maybe 3. I believe it was the same for the other 2 attacks. It's just looking so strong for Homeless on these attacks so far.
Homeless bringing the Dockerby this round as well. That'll be Stiggs playing that operator. Play some more disruption, and that'll directly counter Cutie, who will need to jump off his cameras if he wants to disable the call, or he has to wait it out. It is quite a long wait, particularly in a plant scenario, so a good adaptation there, I feel, for Homeless. Really reading into the fact that TBD are playing quite a stale strategy at the moment. Homeless, they've tamed down that aggression again, and I think it's a trend that sort of continues across all of these matches so far, where now they're playing a little bit more methodical, but still they have that burst of aggression when required.
It's a little scary, isn't it, that they can just turn it on like that and be so successful with it. That attack that they just exploded in that final 15 seconds, that they ended up winning really comfortably. That was just all in the back of that instant aggression. They're able to do that. It's going to be really hard for a defense. You can stall out all you want. You can do everything right.
Oh,
but if you
no.
just lose on those explosions... Speaking of losing...
Jack Dad. How many times has he tried that now? Like 3 or 4? Man, that's rough. Unfortunately, he is off the board, so TBD are at the man disadvantage. Mangoes, though, he gets one back onto Arlo, so that's Ash off the board. Mangoes, once again in this box position, inside security. Left all alone, but he's going to make his way back out. Puts a goo mine on Metal to cover his flank. They have a nice rotation here, TBD, but if Homeless get control of this site, they'll be able to use that to full advantage. Ippy Styles actually was hidden in that corner once again, but it looks like Homeless, they're going to rotate around. They're not too worried about that push, and it should work in their favor.
Yeah, they look very aware of this smoke in this corner as well. Might have seen him rotate there. Stiggs is waiting for some kind of execute. Looks like he's waiting for a player to back him up. Homeless really surrounding this archive site now, guys. So it looks like they're rotating completely away from security, which means there's going to be 2 players of TBD over there that could get cut off. This is basically these 2 on site they have to deal with, and Joker is just under fire right now.
Dino tried to get that kill, but Mango shut it down from that rotate. Joker still with 3 smokes in hand, but Stiggs will nade him out, and he has 2 logic bombs of his own to use for the plant. Homeless in a really nice position now. It's a 3-on-3 as Juicy once again will attempt the plant. Cutie needs to try and deny it. The calls go out though, so he won't be able to jump onto his camera. He picks the corner and gets shut down. That's Stiggs with his double. Mangoes with the flank, gets Hayward though. That's his triple. Will he be able to get the quad? No! He just gets shut down. That was so close. A great shot from Juicy. And now it's left all up to Ippy Styles. He knows that there's probably a player on the rappel. And there's a player on fence. He gets the first. Will he hit the pre-fire on fence? Oh, that was so close. But the player falls below him. Did he get down though? No. Stiggs is still alive. He was prone. They're playing left and right. But Stiggs will finally get the kill. Ippy Styles is shut down. And Homeless will be 5-1 up in the half.
That final play is the definition of cat and mouse right there. And we're critical of Homeless's post-plant last time they attacked that site, or the first time they attacked that site. That time it was much better. A great retake from TBD, but not closing it out. And Homeless are going to have a solid advantage going into their defense half now, Guz. We're going to have to see whether TBD can pull out such precise attacks like we saw from Homeless. Otherwise, this map might really slip through their fingers.
Stiggs tricked me then, because when he dropped, he went prone. I honestly thought he was dead from full damage. I don't know, I don't think he get full damage from that fall.
Not from that.
That's why I was a little bit confused, because he fell down. He was like playing dead. He didn't like get up straight away. Oh well, he knows what he's doing. He got the kill against arguably one of the best fraggers on TBD. So full credit to him for clutching up that round, and Homeless are in a really nice position. I don't think anyone expected them to be this strong. I guess you guys at home did. You backed them quite strongly, and probably not as strong as we did.
Yeah.
You guys know what's up.
And look, some interesting strats from Homeless. They've picked a Frost. They've picked a Goyo. We did see a Goyo come out of TBD, not to a massive effect though. I'm really excited to see what they do with this Goyo, and even the Frost, how that will come into play with this roam clear. To see Hayward placing him on very common jump-in windows that assist with the roam clear. So for example, that one in security CC over where Juicy is right now. That is a common jump in to clear the player out behind that desk. So you can't do that freely. You have to clear that Frost mat. Some good strats here from Homeless. Again, it's just changing it up that little bit. It's a little bit different. So it means TBD can't just breeze through the usual boarded attack. They're going to have to drone it out more carefully and think about what they're doing.
That is some interesting stuff going on at 90. They have a shield watching Break. They've also got to rotate inside of Break itself. I have not seen anything like this before, personally. That is a really risky hold from Homeless, but if they can hold it off, TBD won't be able to push inside of CCTV, forcing them to go over to Office. We saw Homeless themselves have a lot of success on that rotate, so provided they shut that down, TBD could find themselves in a little bit of trouble. Yeah,
it really looks like TBD are just going to ignore that though. They're all repelling in on the east side, which indicates to us that they're going to try and take this Office position, probably open that triple wall. And there's no wall denial from Homeless this time, such as what we saw from Jack Dad, so they might be able to do that a lot quicker. That could put a lot of pressure in Office, and it might really unhinge the roam. They will have to spread out if that's the case. Ooh, whoa! Joker with the east stairs entry.
That was a decent kill, and it looks like Stiggs now will find himself under the pump inside of Office. Jack Dad, Cutie, and Mangoes all ready and waiting for the kill. Mangoes drones it out, and they know exactly where he is. If they set up for the refrag here, TBD should have a clear advantage heading into the rest of this round. But Stiggs, he's not going down without a fight, and Mangoes gets pre-fight into an oblivion. It's now a 4-on-4, and Stiggs is hunting for more. The diffuser is dropped, but he may not know that. The nade comes out. Can he escape it? He will, but Cutie's there to hold down the rotate, and with 1:30 to go, TBD have the man advantage.
That nade coming out just a little too late. They really should have used that nade, not necessarily to get the kill, but to make him move. You've got to make him reposition, not on his terms, on your terms. So that nade could have saved that hard breach. That is a hurdle they're going to have to deal with now. Habana won't be able to open any other walls. They only used it on triple. Could cause issues with that execute, and now maybe they're starting to focus on this break security.
Arlo has been tasked with holding Archives, getting quite aggressive on those angles, particularly considering he is running the SMG. Looks like Jack has been downed as well, so effectively is a 3-on-3. That smoke grenade will go off in the face of Arlo, trying to hold down that rotate that they did create themselves. TBD just slowly setting up for the execute now.
I think he was actually trying to get it out the window to finish off that kill, but not to be. Hayward just domes Joker. That's 2 players that are low for TBD. Starting to really unhinge here. Homeless making it nice and tight for this final 30 seconds, guys. There's a lot of work that TBD are going to have to do. Diffuser isn't in their hands. It's definitely looking like a tough finish here for TBD.
2 members of TBD have been lit up significantly as well, so Homeless in a prime position to take this round and head it to match point. Arlo needs to be really vigilant in holding this rotate, as well as the window. Hayward from behind gets it. He stars. He's absolutely deleted. Cutie follows it up though, so it's a 2-on-2. Hayward and Juicy have 8 seconds to hold out here as they make their way in towards the site. Cutie just misses those shots at 90, but he will follow it up onto Juicy. Gets traded out though, so it is a 1-on-1. Jack Dad doesn't have the diffuser as he tries to hunt for the kill, and Homeless now will be on match point.
Oh, it was a good start from TBD, but Homeless just, they held it together. And that's a really big difference between TBD and Homeless's defenses. We saw right at the end there was some pings coming out on Hayward as the Frost. But he knew, he had great calls from his teammates. The guy's fountain, diffuser is outside, just run away. So they were able to close that round out. I really like the defense strategy from Homeless. It was a bit different. They've tried to do something different, and it stalled TBD out enough, or created some differences where TBD just had some struggles, and it meant that the round was just played on a bit more even terms. All of a sudden, guys, Homeless are here on match point. They're up 6-1. That's a really big score difference.
Definitely get the feeling that Homeless are playing into the fact that maybe many teams in competitive are sleeping on this map. Maybe TBD are sleeping on this map, because teams are sort of getting at the point where they're like, ah, yeah, border. The other team will ban it. We don't have to worry about it. It's probably not going to be in the pool much longer. Like, yeah, we'll be fine. And then this happens, and TBD are basically left red-faced so far, and it doesn't look like they're going to be bringing it back.
It really could be that, because you talk about team veto strategies, and one thing that you think about is you want to bait certain map vetoes out from your opponents, because then you don't have to ban it. It gives you another ban for a map that you want to target ban or something like that. So could have really backfired here on TBD. Talking about it just before, maybe they were expecting it to be banned by Homeless in that final ban phase, but it didn't happen. And here we are. They're facing a massive deficit. It's going to be a huge task. It's 5 perfect rounds that are required, guys, just to get a draw. That's their best option now as TBD, is to get the draw.
And even as far as border games go, you could make the argument that maybe they were starting to get a little bit boring. But despite this being a 6-1, we've actually seen some really interesting gameplay. Homeless on their attack was really measured and then bursting with aggression. And on defense, they're bringing some new stuff to the table in terms of their initial setup and the way that they're holding a lot of these common pushes. And TBD, they just haven't really been able to try and shut that down. So, look, maybe this map is just a lost cause by this stage and it's time to move on to the second map. Of course, you do want to try and fight it out. 5 rounds straight, that's a very tall order on attack.
It is, and look, this is some great live droning here from TBD. Ipistyle's pushed up very aggressive. Ooh. He's going to catch that Maestro off guard, but he's refragged beautifully by Hayward. So 4 versus 4 now, guys, but it's trying to see some differences here from TBD. They're trying to play on the aggressive foot now.
Homeless, unfortunately, losing their Maestro first. If there's one operator that you want alive late in the round, it's probably him. He has those Evil Eyes to deny the plan as well as the older. But he's no longer in play, so Homeless now need to adapt. That refrag, as you mentioned, coming through so fast from Hayward. Really well played from Homeless, and definitely showing that their teamwork as a whole is really improving. I don't think he would have even had the call in the amount of time that he got that frag. It was just instantaneous, really. So really well played from him, and TBD now stalling out.
They are. Half the round, as you said, has now expired. They did get that opening frag, but not a whole lot has changed since. Dino is still in a very aggressive position in Office. Has this not been droned? He's just being held right now.
No
He does
way!
get the head of Cutie. TBD just letting Homeless get away with little things like this, and it's just going to come back to bite them here. Gaz 4 versus 3, and Dino finds another. He might.
Oh
get
my
another
god, Dino with the triple! Mangoes is now left in a 1-on-4, but he can't even get one, and Homeless, they will take the first map 7-1. You guys at home were right, we were wrong. That was a thrashing.
That was. I don't think there's any other way to put it, to be honest. Most of those rounds weren't close. Homeless just looked great on that map. And you know what? Like, it's been banned against them a lot. I think you can see why. This map maybe just favors teams like Homeless that probably come a little fresher from ranks. Sorry to say, boys, but...
Oh, no, you did. Oh,
nah,
great.
Look, they're a great structured team, and I think we saw a lot of structure out of the attack, and I've got to commend them for that. We put so much pressure on them after last week against Fnatic. Their attacks, they only got one against Fnatic. Fnatic are a hard opponent, but only one attack is just not really